All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So we have some breaking NFL draft news coming out now. According to Pete Thamels, it's looking like Trinidad Chambliss is going to be in the 2026 NFL draft. Not necessarily by his choosing, as we all know, and this has been a big talking point for a while. Chambliss has been wanting to go back to school. He reached a new agreement with Ole Miss a couple of days ago to return. That is the intention. He wants to remain in school. Now, of course, he's a senior. He's been applying for basically one extra season of eligibility, but the NCAA has to go over that process. And yes, of course, you can appeal and whatnot, but I believe the NCAA denied it back in December, and now it came out again that it's denied here. Shamblas dealt with some sort of, I believe it was a respiratory issue his second year back at Ferris State. And again, he wants to return back to the Ole Miss Rebels. Now, thankfully for Chambliss, even though this was denied, he has the NFL draft to fall back on, right? It's not like he doesn't have any potential options, or it's looking like this is going to be the end of his football career here. The NFL draft is a very, very interesting thing, right? Because as we all know, when we talked about this the other day when Ty Simpson declared, the draft process is really set up for these quarterbacks to rise, right? To look at their stock right now. The hard part's over. The games are over. And of course, if you look at Trinidad Chambliss, he's a playmaker, quick, punchy release with a strong arm, throws darts over the middle of the field. He can extend plays. He's mobile. You look at the production in the SEC. He doesn't turn the ball over, which I really, really like. I mean, you look at it. Ironically enough, you look at a guy in Jackson Dart last year who was considered a third-round pick by the time the season ended. Right? It wasn't until a month or two after the after the college football playoff that Jackson Dart started to be talked about going in round 2. And as we all know, what happened, right? He ends up going in round 1 with the team trading up into round 1, the New York Giants, to go land him. So, am I saying Chambliss is the next Jackson Dart and he's going to be a guaranteed first-round pick? No. But what I am saying is that this quote-unquote thin quarterback class got a little bit better here with Chambliss now in the mix. Ty Simpson now in the fold. All indications Fernando Mendoza is going to be declaring. I don't see a reason to go back to school if I was him. Dante Moore could still be 50-50. Ultimately, I think Dante will declare here. But regardless, Chambliss provides another quarterback option here. Again, is he a franchise guy? Is he top 5 potential? It's too early for that. The pre-draft process is in place to really dive into all those details, right? Coaches are going to have a chance to go back and rewatch all the film. Of course, get his physical measurables, have him sit down in front of teams, get him on the board, throw him an offensive system or a handful of plays, see how he responds. The Lane Kiffin offense overall isn't really the best as far as, getting a quarterback ready for the NFL, but ultimately that's not Lane Kiffin's job. His job is to win football games. And again, Jackson Dart's stock rose, but previously, there was a lot of quarterbacks in that style of system that had a lot of physical traits, really wanted it, right? But it just never really panned out at the next level. So again, Chambliss is a really intriguing prospect here. Combine, private workouts, Senior Bowl, Pro Day, right? There's a lot of opportunities here in front of Chambliss, again, in a weak quarterback class to drive his stock up. So another option here for the New York Jets. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Again, I'm not saying, he's got to be the pick or we have to dump everything, drop everything. You got to draft Trinidad. No, it's just another option. We'll see how the pre-draft process plays out. We'll see if his stock starts to rise. And we will know if his stock starts to rise if, the quote-unquote draft insiders start putting him higher and higher and higher in the mock drafts, right? That's one big indicator, obviously. The draft insiders, they're not just pulling names out of thin air. They're talking to scouts. They're talking to director of college scouting, right? Talking to player personnel executives. In some cases, literally talking to general managers and head coaches. Not to mention offensive coordinators and QB coaches. They have an idea on what's going on. They're not just, this guy can maybe go and this guy could, if say, for example, a draft insider has a 4th round grade on a quarterback, And he talks to a head coach, and that head coach loves him and says, hey, we're considering him, taking him at 25. Where do you think he's going to go in the next mock draft? It's not going to be the 4th round. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And by the way, quick little side note. Yes, of course, we have the Shedeur Sanders situation where he was one of these strange quarterbacks that fell, right? His stock got worse. Very rare that a quarterback stock falls, unless you're like, well, Shedeur Sanders kind of in a overall unique process, right, with Deion Sanders as his dad, and there were questions about, okay, this is going to be the first time in Shedeur's career that he's not coached by his father. But just thinking back to a couple of quarterbacks that had their stock drastically fall, Geno Smith was one of those guys, you know, thin quarterback class and whatnot, and you just kind of felt like overall, I remember people were talking about like maturity questions and stuff like that. You had Teddy Bridgewater stock fall because of the pro day, right? The pro day, if we think back, he didn't wear gloves. And we all know Teddy Bridgewater, he likes to wear gloves when he throws. And so there was that whole big thing. Can he play in the cold? Can he play in the rain? What if he doesn't wear gloves in an NFL game? Is he playable? All these different things, right? We're going to throw away the accuracy. We're going to throw away his leadership. We're going to throw away his overall mechanics and him working in a pro-style offense under center and whatnot, doing a lot of really, really impressive things. We're going to dump it because his pro day was not good because he threw with a bare hand. And I mean, there were mock drafts with Bridgewater going 1 overall to Houston that season over, you know, Jadeveon Clowney. Ends up going 32, right? So his stock fell. Obviously, Geno Smith's stock fell to round 2 as well. But again, very, very rare that you see a quarterback start up at the top. Sorry about that. My phone overheated here. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, go Jets.